also the expenditure that we do on the space station. So in the very beginning, every astronaut was trained for everything. He was a specialist in everything. And this was possible because the space station was small and there were not so many systems and not so much science to do. Of course, now we have a 6-person crew. The space station, as you can see here, is huge. There are so many systems. If we would have to train every astronaut as a specialist for everything, the training would take 6 years instead of 2 years or 2.5 years. Which, first of all, for the astronaut is not so good, because if you have trained something 6 years ago, how will you still remember it? So it's not so easy. Secondly, of course, if you train for so long, that also means that all the people on the ground need to work so long, so that makes the program much more expensive. And thirdly, it's also not necessary, because you will never do all that work on board of the space station. So today we have astronauts that are specialized. We have a specialist for Columbus, for example. We have a specialist for the Japanese module. We have specialists for Russian EVA. We have specialists for American EVA, which makes it possible to have the training done in 2.5 years. But of course, it also makes that yes, the American, the USOS, the European, the Japanese astronauts spend more time in the American part of the space station, while our Russian colleagues spend more time in the Russian part of the space station. Having said that, all the exercise equipment we still use all together. The meals, we still use a lot of the meals together. We still see each other every day for the meals. We have a fantastic capability here is the cupola, this window. A lot of the pictures that Alexander Gerst is tweeting every day are taken by the cupola. It's fantastic. All the crew members, of course, come to the cupola and want to take pictures there, so you meet naturally there in the cupola. So it's really one single crew that is working on board of the space station. But of course, like in any office building here, we have a lot of people working here in the building. I can have lunch with them, I can have a cup of coffee with them, but that does not mean that we are sitting in each other's office every single minute, because everybody has his work to do, of course.
Frank, talking about the space station and how big and complex this platform is, you spent 6 months on the space station. That's roughly 170 days.
187 days.
187 days. Exactly. Some of which you spent as a commander of the space station as well. Now my question would be, what is the role really of the commander? Because I know that the ground is also a lot involved in the operations. What is the role of the commander there?
The real boss of the space station, of course, indeed, you're right, is sitting on the ground. The flight director is the boss of the space station. He decides what's happening or what's not happening. And that is a very clear responsibility. It makes you wonder sometimes. And I think Alex had a really nice blog written about it as well. And it's something to be silent about for some time. When you are up there, you really realize that why are we doing this? And like Alex wrote, I think, at the end of the blog, because we are a little bit like the aliens, you know, we look from above. Imagine that some other aliens come and look at us from above, and they see what all we are doing. What would they think about us? They would just think that we are a barbaric species. And maybe they are not so far off. Good that I have all these brilliant people here in the center that can always correct me, you know, because
you said correctly.
I'm too stupid for all that. I can only turn a screwdriver in the space station. I'm very good for that, not the rest. I'm just too stupid for that.
Well, names, that's the only thing I'm good with.
Thomas Teske, so he will fly in December 2016. After that, for sure, we have another long duration space mission in 2019. That is guaranteed. So who will be assigned to that mission, I don't know, but this is to be decided. Besides that, you know that NASA is working on commercial crew. Which will augment the number of American USOS, so American, European, Japanese, Canadian astronauts to the space station to a number of 4 instead of 3. Since we have a certain percentage of the number of people that fly to space, if we go from 3 to 4, automatically we have more credits, we have more rides. So this would grant us another flight in the time frame up till 2020. So we might have 2 long duration space flights if commercial crew happens indeed in 2017, 2018, as it is planned today. Then there are talks that, and you know the US has already done this, extend the space station till 2024. So then if this happens, of course we will have additional astronaut flights also in that period of time. And all our astronauts from the new class, they are young enough to certainly also cover that period. So for sure I hope that all of them will get more chances to fly to space. We did not hire them for just one space flight, and this was not our purpose. Now, in space, one thing is sure. Nothing will happen the way you plan it. That I have learned as well over the last 12 years in my space career. Everything will be different, but at least we have plans. It's already good.
Talking about plans, Frank, every time we talk about the future of the ISS and how long this is going to be prolonged, people ask me about the next selection of European astronauts, of ESA astronauts. Can you spend a word about this?
Yes, the next selection today is not planned. As I have just discussed, we have our 6 young astronauts, and for sure they can cover the period till 2024. Now we also realize that of course at a certain moment you will have to hand over, and you cannot just have a selection every 20 years, because you need to have young people, you need to also give opportunity to younger people in the member states to apply for this. What I can say is that today no new selection is planned, but in case that the member states would take a decision to prolong the space station beyond 2020, and we would have a prolonged human spaceflight program, this will certainly be part of the discussions at that moment. This discussion will only happen around the 2016 timeframe, so in 2 years from now we will have to make a decision in Europe if we want to go with our American partners and extend the space station, or if we will not extend the space station. This is not being discussed, or this is not being decided right now. It's a decision for in 2 years. And part of that decision then, of course, will we at that moment as well have a new astronaut selection? Will we postpone it? Will we do it at that moment? This is something, of course, that we will need to start thinking about. Space is great. Looking from space to our fragile blue planet, we see that it's extremely vulnerable, we see that it's extremely fragile, and I would call to all people on the world to take good care of our only spaceship, real spaceship that we have, which is planet Earth.
Frank, thank you very much for your time.